Welcome! I'm James Barber, your Oregon Cash Flow Pro. I came across something that is really cool. I think you're going to find a lot of value in this, not just in the tool, but in the content that we're going to be discussing as well. I did a video last year about infinite banking in 2024, and it was a very, very comprehensive video about how to do infinite banking as well as doing dynamic banking. I basically covered everything that you need to know in that video, or at least I tried to. Now, I recently changed the name of the video because we're now in 2025, but there's still timeless concepts that we went over in that video that are not just limited to 2024. So I changed the title. It's now called A Comprehensive Guide to Infinite Banking. You can see the link. I'm going to put that right up there in the corner. But this tool that I just came across, it's called Notebook LM. It's by Google. And what it does is I drop in that video and it puts together an AI overview. That's a conversation between two people. And they're basically going to be talking about my video. Let's hear what AI has to say about infinite banking in 2024 and beyond. There's also a FAQ that I had them generate. There's an 8-question FAQ based on the video, and there's a study guide. I'm going to create a briefing doc as well. I will make all of these available as a Google Doc. I'm going to link that in the description of this video below so you can check it out. This is some pretty cool stuff. So whether you're just interested in seeing what's the deal with this Google Notebook LM, or if you're studying infinite banking right now and you're thinking, is this something that I'm interested in? Am I going to become my own banker? And you're looking at all the videos on YouTube about infinite banking. You should be able to find value in this video as well. I hope you do. And if you do, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. And bottom line, tell me what you guys think. What do you think about this video? This is going to be pretty interesting. Blows my mind. This is AI. Here we go.
Hey everyone, ready to unpack this whole infinite banking thing? It's a concept that's got people talking, and for good reason.
Yeah, it really flips the script on how we usually think about money and banks.
Definitely. So today we're going deep on it using this YouTube video as a guide.
It's called a Comprehensive Guide to Infinite Banking with High Cash Value Life Insurance from Oregon Cash Flow Pro.
Perfect. So the video kicks off by talking about this wealth pyramid idea from James Barber.
Right, he says it should be like the bedrock of any solid financial plan.
And it makes sense. We always hear about building a strong foundation, but like, what does that actually look like in practice?
Exactly, and how solid is your base right now? It's not just about playing it safe. Barber's pyramid is all about strategic sequencing.
Okay, I like that.
So at the base, you've got those absolute essentials: emergency savings, insurance, your home, maybe even Social Security.
Right, the non-negotiables.
These aren't just about avoiding risk, though.
They're like setting you up for the long game.
Without them, you can't confidently move up to those next levels of the pyramid.
So as we climb this pyramid, things get progressively more exciting. We start with conservative investments like 401ks and IRAs. Then we move into things that are a bit riskier. And at the very top, you've got those high-risk, high-reward ventures.
Precisely. And Barber highlights that many people try to build their financial house from the roof down. They're so focused on those potentially lucrative but risky investments.
Right. They're trying to hit a home run before they even learn to walk.
Exactly. They neglect those foundational elements, essentially trying to balance a pyramid on its tip.
Which, let's be honest, is a recipe for disaster. If the market takes a dip or an unexpected expense pops up,
The whole thing could come crashing down. Imagine building a skyscraper on sand instead of bedrock. It's just not a sustainable approach.
Okay, so
This is amazing. This is my first time listening to this. I have not listened to this before recording it for this video. This sounds like a natural conversation between two people. And I gotta tell you, they're making a lot of sense. They're using exact language from my video when making their points. This is really cool.
now let's talk about the traditional banking system, the elephant, or maybe the banker, in the vault.
So let's get into it.
The video doesn't hold back, pointing out some pretty major problems that probably resonate with a lot of us. Barber uses the phrase, pay to save, pay to spend, and beg to borrow.
Yeah, and honestly, it can feel that way sometimes. Even basic savings accounts come with fees, and the interest rates are so low it feels like your money is barely growing.
It's like they're penalizing you for trying to be responsible.
And then on the borrowing side, it's a whole other story.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
The hoops you have to jump through for a loan, the interest rates that can really add up, it can be incredibly frustrating.
It really makes you wonder, Are banks truly serving the individual, or are they primarily focused on their own bottom line?
Especially when the video throws out that statistic, banks being the wealthiest institutions globally.
Right. It makes you think, where is all that wealth coming from?
That's where understanding concepts like fractional reserve banking gets really important. You're not just a customer, you're part of a system.
And infinite banking is about understanding that system deeply so you can play the game strategically, right?
Exactly.
So Barber introduces these three financial archetypes: the debtor, the saver, and the wealth creator.
Right, and he uses these simple visuals of accounts to show how each one approaches money.
Like, what one do you see yourself as right now?
The debtor is trapped in that cycle of borrowing for everyday expenses. The saver diligently sets money aside.
But might not be maximizing its growth potential.
And then you have the wealth creator. That's the goal,
To
right?
become the master of our financial destiny, what sets the wealth creator apart?
The wealth creator isn't afraid of debt. They see it as a tool, something to be used strategically.
Interesting.
They focus on compounding money while using other people's money to build long-term wealth.
And this is where infinite banking comes in, right? It's about shifting from being a debtor or even just a saver
to becoming that savvy wealth creator.
But here's where things get interesting. Barber suggests that the key tool for doing this is high cash value life insurance.
Yeah, I know, it sounds counterintuitive.
Most people associate life insurance with, well, death, but stay with us here because the video makes a really compelling case.
Yeah, they break it down.
So they compare different ways to build your own personal bank, stashing cash under your mattress.
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
Using traditional checking and savings accounts, even investing in the stock market and using margin loans. But Barber ultimately argues that high cash value life insurance has some unique advantages for this infinite banking strategy.
Right, it might seem unconventional, but the more you understand how it works, the more it makes sense.
So let's unpack those advantages. First up, market protection and guaranteed growth. Unlike the stock market, which can be, well, a bit of a roller coaster.
Definitely.
High cash value life insurance offers stability. Your money isn't going to disappear overnight because of a market crash.
This is where that strong financial foundation we talked about earlier comes in. You need that security, knowing that your money is protected.
From those ups and downs.
Exactly.
And then there's the accessibility factor. With a high cash value policy, you usually have access to 95% or more of your funds, which is a huge difference compared to margin loans where your access might be limited.
Big time.
Imagine being able to tap into your funds when a killer opportunity pops up, like discounted real estate during a downturn.
That's the power of liquidity, and it's a core principle of infinite banking.
You're in control, ready to seize opportunities when they arise, rather than being at the mercy of banks or market fluctuations. The video even talks about how people using high cash value life insurance during the 2008 financial crisis were able to capitalize on those opportunities.
It's about being prepared and having the resources available when you need them.
Plus, let's not forget about the potential tax advantages. Borrowing against your policy can be tax-free, and the growth inside the policy is tax-deferred.
It can make a significant difference over time, especially when you're thinking long-term.
And remember that wealth pyramid we discussed earlier. A high cash value life insurance policy actually helps you build multiple levels of that secure base simultaneously. It's a multifaceted tool. It provides a death benefit, living benefits, contractual access to cash value, downside protection, and growth potential.
It's like hitting multiple financial goals with one strategy.
But Barber takes things a step further with this concept called dynamic banking, which is about maximizing cash flow within the infinite banking framework.
Yeah, he describes it as a system where your money is constantly working for you.
Think of it as a system where you're strategically using debt to your advantage.
Exactly.
He mentions debt elimination, banking tools like e-locks, personal lines of credit, even credit cards.
Used responsibly, of course.
In combination with your cash value life insurance policy, it almost sounds like a financial juggling act, keeping all these different pieces in motion.
It is a bit like juggling, but with the goal of always having the upper hand.
He uses this visual of a graph that shows how you can strategically park your paycheck and time your bill payments.
To minimize interest charges and maximize the benefits.
It's all about being proactive and intentional with your money, making it work smarter for you.
Absolutely.
So now we get to the practical question. How do you actually fund this infinite banking system, especially if you're using high cash value life insurance? It can seem like a pretty big hurdle to overcome.
Well, there are a few different approaches. You could steadily fund your policy over time. Or if you're looking to accelerate the process, you might consider using lines of credit to front the premiums and then borrow against the policy to repay the line of credit, essentially using one to fund the other.
That's a pretty aggressive strategy, though, right?
It is, and it requires careful consideration. It's not suitable for everyone. And it's crucial to work with a knowledgeable financial professional who can guide you through the process.
It sounds like infinite banking is a powerful strategy, but not a set it and forget it system. It requires active management and a clear understanding of how all the pieces work together.
Absolutely, it's not a magic bullet, but rather a framework that empowers you to make smarter financial decisions. But we'll dig into that more in part 2 of this deep dive.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground already in our infinite banking exploration.
Yeah, it's been a deep dive.
It's clear that the strategy involves some pretty big shifts in how we usually think about money and finances.
Definitely.
But before we go too far, let's take a moment to recap what we've learned so far, just to make sure we're all on the same page.
Sounds good.
So we started with that wealth pyramid model from James Barber.
Right, emphasizing that a solid financial foundation isn't just about playing it safe, it's about strategic sequencing.
Exactly.
Each level of that pyramid, it plays a role in your long-term goals.
Right, and those essential elements at the base, emergency savings, insurance, your home, they create a level of security that allows you to move up to those more exciting, higher risk investments.
And with confidence.
Exactly. You're not building your financial house on shaky ground.
We also talked about those potential drawbacks of the traditional banking system.
Yeah, those phrases Barber uses really hit home, like paying to save and begging to borrow. It can feel like the system is designed to keep you reliant on them.
For sure.
And then there's that statistic about banks being the wealthiest institutions globally.
It makes you wonder if their wealth-building strategies are truly aligned with your own financial goals.
Right. Are they really looking out for you?
That's why understanding concepts like fractional reserve banking is so crucial. It sheds light on how the system actually works.
And how infinite banking seeks to kind of disrupt it.
Exactly.
So the big question is, how do you become less reliant on that system? How do you transition from being a debtor or just a saver to becoming that empowered wealth creator?
That's where infinite banking comes in.
Right. It's about taking control, becoming your own banker, and creating a system that works for you, not the other way around.
And the tool Barber highlights for achieving this is high cash value life insurance.
Which, I'll admit, threw me for a loop at first. It seems like a pretty unconventional approach.
I get it. Life insurance often gets associated with, well, the end of life.
But when you start to understand how high cash value policies work, you begin to see their potential for building wealth.
Exactly.
So we went through some of the advantages like market protection and guaranteed growth.
Right, providing that stability we all need in a volatile world.
Then there's the high accessibility to your funds, giving you the flexibility to seize opportunities as they arise.
And, of course, the potential tax advantages,
Which can really add up over time.
especially long-term.
And remember that wealth pyramid we discussed earlier? A high cash value life insurance policy doesn't just address one level of that pyramid, it hits multiple levels simultaneously.
It can cover your bases in terms of security, growth, even legacy planning.
But then Barber takes things even further with this concept of dynamic banking, which sounds like a way to, I don't know, supercharge the infinite banking strategy.
Yeah, dynamic banking is about maximizing cash flow by strategically using a combination of financial tools. Think of it as orchestrating your finances so that your money is constantly working for you.
He mentions things like HELOCs, personal lines of credit, even credit cards.
But it's not about reckless borrowing.
Of course not. It's about using those tools responsibly.
To accelerate your debt payoff and maximize the benefits of having an account or within your cash value life insurance and strategically time your bill payments.
To minimize those interest charges.
Exactly.
It's all about being proactive and creating a system where you're in control rather than reacting to whatever financial curveballs life throws your way.
And remember, this isn't about get-rich-quick schemes. It's about long-term, sustainable wealth building.
Now, I know this is a lot to process.
Yeah, it's a lot of info.
And it might seem a bit overwhelming, but what I find so fascinating is how infinite banking challenges us to rethink our relationship with money.
It forces us to ask questions about the systems we've been taught to rely on.
And explore those alternative paths.
Right, because there are other options out there.
So as we move into the final part of this deep dive, I want to encourage everyone to reflect on what they've learned so far.
Take a moment to really think about it.
Think about those three financial archetypes, the debtor, the saver, and the wealth creator. Which one do you currently identify with?
And more importantly, which one do you aspire to be?
We're going to dig even deeper into the mechanics of infinite banking and explore how you can start putting these principles into practice.
The real nitty-gritty.
But before we jump into that, what are your initial thoughts on what you've heard so far? What stands out to you as particularly intriguing or maybe even challenging, this whole idea of becoming our own bankers? It's fascinating, right?
It can seem radical at first.
But the more we unpack it, the more it makes sense.
We've always thought of banks as the only option.
Like they're the gatekeepers.
But infinite banking suggests that we have more control than we realize.
Definitely. So we've seen how high cash value life insurance can be a powerful tool for this.
A key piece of the puzzle.
But of course, there's always that question, is this too good to be true? Are there any downsides? What are the potential risks we should be aware of?
That's a smart question to ask. No financial strategy is perfect.
Right. There are always trade-offs.
One thing to remember is that high cash value life insurance policies, they can be complex.
Yeah, they're not exactly something you just pick up at the grocery store.
It's not a set it and forget it kind of investment.
Definitely not.
They require a good level of understanding and active management.
So it's not just about picking any random policy off the shelf.
No, not at all.
So you're saying it's probably a good idea to work with a professional?
Definitely. Having a knowledgeable financial advisor can be a game changer, especially one who really understands infinite banking.
Makes sense. Someone to help you navigate all the complexities.
Absolutely. They can help you analyze different policy options, assess the fees and costs involved.
And make sure it all aligns with your goals.
Exactly. They can tailor a strategy that fits your specific situation.
The video also talks about using infinite banking to fund other investments, like real estate or even starting a business.
Yeah, it's like having your own internal bank to fuel those entrepreneurial dreams.
Instead of going to a traditional bank for a loan.
You could potentially borrow from your own high cash value life insurance policy.
And potentially at a lower interest rate?
And that interest, it goes right back into your own system.
It's like a positive feedback loop.
It's a powerful way to leverage your own resources.
And really take control of your financial future.
For sure.
You know what really stands out to me is the emphasis on long-term thinking. Infinite banking isn't about getting rich quick. It's about building sustainable wealth over time.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. And it requires patience, discipline, and a willingness to challenge those conventional financial wisdoms we've all been told.
Right, thinking outside the box.
There's definitely a learning curve.
But for someone who's truly committed to taking control of their finances,
Infinite banking can be a really compelling option.
I agree.
You know, at the end of the day, it's all about becoming more financially literate, understanding how money works, and making informed decisions.
And feeling empowered to shape your own financial future.
That's what this deep dive has been all about. Sparking curiosity, providing knowledge, and empowering you to explore different possibilities.
It's about opening doors.
So as you continue your financial journey, remember to ask questions, challenge assumptions, and seek out those diverse perspectives.
Don't be afraid to think differently.
You have more power than you think to shape your financial destiny. Maybe you'll even discover your own inner infinite banker along the way.
That's a great way to put it.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. I'm curious, what's resonating with you the most? What are you taking away from this whole exploration of infinite banking?
Yeah, what are you going to explore further? What new questions have come up for you?
There's definitely a lot more to learn. The Oregon Cashflow Pro YouTube channel we mentioned has tons of great resources.
And connecting with a financial professional who specializes in infinite banking can provide that personalized guidance.
So yeah, keep diving deep and uncovering those hidden gems of knowledge.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into infinite banking.
It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with all of you.
Until next time.
Keep learning, keep growing, and we'll catch you on our next episode where we'll be tackling another intriguing topic and pushing those boundaries of what it means to be truly well-informed.
Wow, that was really good. I mean, clearly there was a little bit of mistakes in there. They kept cutting off when he would say exactly. Some of the words got a little bit messed up, but you still understood what they were talking about. While we were watching that, you could see I downloaded the audio. I copied these things to a Google Doc, and I have the link to that. So I will be sharing that link. If you want to take a look at it, check the details. It looks pretty cool. I don't know who all will be interested in this, but I will make that available. If you have any questions or comments about this video, leave them in the comment section below. Happy to have a discussion about it. Again, this was Notebook LM, and that was some pretty wild AI commentary. Now, when I put the source in here, it took just a few seconds, and they came up with this summary. And then it took about 10 or 15 minutes to generate this. And this is a 36-minute video. That's really impressive, and they did a really good job. I appreciate you joining me. The next 20 seconds determine your future. Subscribe, meet with me, or continue educating yourself with these videos right over here. I appreciate you. Now go maximize your cash flow.